now I got all my pieces cut, 2 sides that we had done previously, 3 other small pieces, 2 of which are the drawer, 1 of which attaches to the back apron. Back apron and top, and then 2 top pieces, 1 for the sliding drawer and 1 for the fixed side. So now I have to put the profile on these smaller pieces to match the sides, and then I'm going to go ahead and pre-assemble and check everything. I've now got all the parts cut. I use a combination of the Festool TS55 and the saw stop to get all the parts to dimension. And then a couple of them need to be rounded over, these guys here. These are for the drawer section, 2 of those, and 1 piece for the middle to support the fixed top. To do those corners this time, I simply traced the curve on there, cut off the majority by hand, and then took the Festool sander in Rotex mode with 60 grit and really shaped that curve quickly. I again ganged up these 2 to cut those at the same time, sand them at the same time, and cut them at the same time, so that went really quickly. Now I'm going to pre-assemble everything to check the fit. I'm going to assemble the drawer components and assemble the whole thing, check it out, and then we'll take it back apart and finish everything. So here's the table pre-assembled. The top's on, all the side pieces and everything. I used these joint connectors here, RTA connectors, and some pocket screws for the drawer here. You can see it slides in and out. This top's on pocket screws, the back's with pocket screws, these sides are with these connectors. After getting everything together, it went together really easily, but I don't really like the way these connectors look and how it turned out. So I think what I'm going to do is switch over to pocket screws everywhere, and then just fill these holes with some wood putty and spackle, and then so the whole thing's getting painted anyway. The reason I went with these connectors originally is because the design called for being able to take this thing back apart. Not necessarily to flat pack, but just definitely to take it apart and store it. So I think what I'll do is instead use pocket screws and put them along the back side and the inside, and leave them not covered over. And then if I want to take it apart in the future, I just back out those pocket screws, and you won't see them because they'll be on the back and on the inside. And so I should be able to assemble the whole thing that way, leave access to the pocket screws, and in the future be able to back out the screws and take it back apart. Say hi to the camera. Well, today I got my very special helper here in the shop. You gonna say hi to the camera, Liam? You gonna say hi? So as you can see here, if you can make out, I've got a lot of pocket screws now along the back. I've replaced all the connector bolts here at the end, which I've taken out with these pocket screws, and reassembled the whole thing using pocket screws. I'll go ahead and fill in these holes in the end with some wood filler and spackle. The whole thing's getting painted, so that'll work out great. While it's pre-assembled, I'm going to go ahead and mark where I'm going to round over. I'll use a roundover bit on most of the edges to smooth the corners, and then a couple of the edges get a significant roundover, almost a curve from top to bottom. So I'll go ahead and mark that while it's all pre-assembled. Take it apart, do that with the router, go ahead and fill in these holes, and then we'll start painting. Laid out, ready to paint. Use the router and round it over the edges to give it a nice smooth look, and then I took some sandpaper, 150 and 220, gave it a light sanding. Plywood was in good shape, but I just wanted to make sure it was really smooth. Ready for a first coat of primer, and then 2 top coats, and we should be all done. table is all done, and we're really happy with the way it turned out. I got the drawer here that pulls out to slide for the laptop to rest on, and a little smaller table here for pens and paper and whatnot. All the pocket screws are hidden underneath and then the back. Paint job came out pretty well, so it's ready for delivery.